Super Talk 99.7 WTN 907. My name is Chris Hand. I love getting in the studio, pulling up the Super Text line, and seeing a message from Anthony, 1126. He said, "Did Mac make it in on time today?"
Well, guess what? I did, Anthony.
Oh my gosh. I made it in so early. I feel like everybody was on the Mac Maury work plan today. Just taking Friday off, getting ready for this long weekend because there was no traffic.
Oh, trust me, I had second thoughts getting up. Oh, gee, really?
Yeah,
a Friday? Do I work a full week? I mustered it up for you, though. Thank you.
Congratulations. Everybody give it up for Mac Maury. He works 5 days without a day off. You almost work as hard as our president.
Almost.
Mac, have you taken a year of vacation total over the last 3 years here, Mac?
Not quite.
Everybody's shocked. Nick just said Mac's there on a Friday. I know. This is shocking.
Oh, that's great.
Somebody texted in a picture. It's a meme of all right, so the meme says, "Me, almost late for work. The guy in front of me buying lottery tickets," and then it's a picture of Mitch McConnell frozen.
That's usually me on the Friday. It's Mitch McConnell.
Yep. Oh, geez. All right. Do we get this out of the way? Tim Jones, Sumner County Commissioner. He wants us to play this talk to the hand button whenever we have a caller. Can you play the button for him?
Let's do it.
Talk to the hand.
Okay. I get it, Tim. We know. It's funny. It's funny.
It's funny. But we can do better. But it is good.
Talk to the hand.
So that's for Tim Jones, Sumner County Commissioner. He's been wanting us to play that for a while. We've been kind of avoiding it. Full disclosure, Tim. I'm so sorry. I don't want. I'm trying to gently let you down. But full disclosure, we've been avoiding the talk to the hand button.
We still do appreciate all the ideas from everyone, Tim. So we do appreciate you.
We appreciate it. We do.
Talk to the hand.
There you go. I don't know. Do people think we should use the talk to the hand button?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If you love it, then text us in. If you love that, please.
If you love the talk to the hand button when I get a caller, we can do it. If you think it's good.
Oh, Nick's figured me out. 33-31. Don't give Mac too much credit. It's a 3-day weekend. That's the only reason he's there.
Oh,
he got me.
Based Nick coming in and reminding everybody that Mac's only here so he doesn't get fined. All right. Hey, I do want to try something new today. I want to talk about, I want to start doing a new thing on Fridays where we do Agenda-Free Friday. Okay? And this is what I want to do on Fridays. Agenda-Free Friday, where I open up the phone lines. They're open right now, and I let you dictate where the discussion goes. Now, I know, I even told Dan, I said, of course I'm trying it on the Friday before a long weekend where everybody's already taken off.
Oh, yeah.
So it may not take off this Friday, so I will give it another try next Friday. But if you got something you want to talk about, Agenda-Free Friday is something we're going to be trying here on the Chris Hand Show, where I let you dictate where the conversation goes. Wide variety of topics. I don't really care. There's nothing that scares me in terms of topics.
Fearless.
There's no third rail, if you will, in terms of topics I won't talk about or at least indulge. Even the crazy ones I think sometimes are interesting.
I think especially the crazy ones.
I mean, what I bring up yesterday, Operation Northwoods. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know what that was, did you?
I didn't.
If you're unfamiliar, Operation Northwoods was a CIA proposal for John F. Kennedy to false flag terrorist attacks, blame them on Cubans to get us into a war with Cuba. And it was all proven through declassified documents. So, I'm down with those declassified topics. Those are always fun. I like theory conversations. I'm a fan of rabbit holes. So if you have a topic you want to talk about, whether it's in the news or just something that you've been pondering, it's Agenda-Free Friday on the Chris Hand Show. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. A lot of people are saying that the talk to the hand, because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, we need to play Screw Your Freedoms right after. No, 6890. I didn't say gender-free Friday. I said agenda-free Friday. Of course, with this audience, we go right to they think it's gender-free Friday. No. There's only two genders on the Chris Hand Show. Stephen in Kentucky, our first caller on Agenda-Free Friday. You want to talk about old people in charge? What's up, Stephen?
Hey, Chris. Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong on this because I really have respect for my elders. I was raised by my grandparents more than I was my real parents. They were always there to look out for me. Of course, my grandpa's a Korean War veteran, and my grandmother was just a dedicated school bus driver for Nashville for her whole career. But these people that are in charge in our government that are in their 70s and 80s and so on, why is it that the rest of us in this society and in this country, the way that it is, when we hit 60 to 65, we can retire, right? And it's like you're too old, you got to go home, go on vacation, go enjoy life for these last 10 or 20 years, whatever it is, all right? And then we get, checks from, Social Security or whatnot. All right, so, but why is it that they, the ones that are in charge of all of that, they end up staying in there as long as they possibly can? Don't they want to retire? Don't they want to sit back and hang out? I'm thinking it's more like they're not really in there as a job. They're not looking at it as a job to retire. It's almost like they're just in it for the power.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my
hang
mouth.
on to that power for as long as they can.
Yeah, so I have two thoughts. And I'm not hanging up on you, but my two thoughts are,
okay.
The first thing that I heard you say is, you respect your elders. I do too. And I think at a certain point, this becomes elder abuse. And it's almost less fair to leave them in there than it is to, have them go retire. For anybody that doesn't know what Stephen is talking about, I'm sure you're referencing Mitch McConnell the other day freezing up
Joe
again.
Biden and dozens of more of them. Yeah.
Well, this was Mitch
Nancy
McConnell.
Pelosi's, it seems like over the past
Dianne
20
Feinstein.
years,
Dianne Feinstein gave
all
her
of
daughter
them,
power of
they're-
attorney. I know, and it's on both sides. It's
they ride it out until they're almost dead, and it's not fair.
Well,
It's
I think
not fair.
we can all
make
agree.
a law and a rule that says they need to retire at a certain age because that's what's best for us.
100%, and maybe not force them to retire, but force them to take a cognitive test. Because for everybody that you force out, we're gonna lose a good one with a bad one. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. We need the younger, fresher minds that are more in the same lanes with the society that's running this machine on a day-to-day basis. We don't need a dinosaur behind the wheel.
Even a step further, though, if you're not even talking about a Mitch McConnell or a Dianne Feinstein or Joe, Sleepy Joe, there's a generational gap that we're not addressing as well. How can we address Chinese propaganda on TikTok with someone that's never even been on Facebook?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like if your aide is running your Facebook page, you can't. You don't. If you don't understand Facebook,
can't do it.
How are you going to be able to step up to the propaganda on TikTok? And they're
can't.
coming after our kids that way. That's one of the reasons why I like some of these younger guys in there, like Andy Ogles, because at least they're in the weeds with what we're seeing. You know what I mean? Thank you so much for the call. I really appreciate it. It's Agenda-Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. 615-737-9986. And this was the Mitch McConnell clip that he was referencing. Mitch McConnell froze again the other day. Oh, you got to give me audio, Mac. Mac's here, but he's... this is Mitch McConnell the other day.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
And then he freezes.
Did you hear
it's
the question,
painful.
Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
Yeah, they are going to need a minute, and it takes a while. And I wonder who this handler is. I tried to figure out who the handler was. Apparently, it's an aide of Mitch McConnell, but she's just as guilty as the people in his family letting him go up there.
Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
Yeah, we have lots of questions actually. We have a ton of questions. It's Agenda Free Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sean in Mount Juliet, you want to talk about Democrat voters? What's up, Sean?
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Joe Biden is not fit for office. And, along the theme of the last caller, some cognitive test or something needs to happen. But what really grinds my gears is Democrat voters know this as well as we do, and they're complicit with it. And I don't think we can maintain much longer. Elections are compromised at this point, and I just don't know if we can ever recover from this, no matter who gets in office.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a doomer. I think that there's one of those things. It's like it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? But I don't want to not. I don't want to give up hope yet. I think a lot more people are waking up every single day. And thanks for the call, Sean. We're seeing a lot of Democrats waking up to this. And we saw a viral video. Dan just played it. This Oprah and The Rock are trying to solicit for donations for Maui, and an African American female who, if you had seen on the streets, you might assume is a Democrat voter, just rips them to shreds. And this is just a point that people are waking up to this kind of stuff.
So if you send a donation, just click now.
Did I just witness what I think I witnessed? Please don't tell me I just saw a billionaire standing next to a multi-millionaire begging the average everyday citizen for donations that can barely get by due to a real-life recession, living paycheck to paycheck, barely can pay rent, barely can put food on the table for our families, okay? Living in a real-life recession in a country where our president is giving away all our resources to another country for money. If you two don't go take your Hollywood elite behinds to your other Hollywood elite friends and politician buddies that got millions like you do and billions and get all that money together and help out Maui, you are out your damn mind. Please don't insult our intelligence like that. And after you guys do all of that, you will have enough money to help the rest of us. Boo. Get out of here with that. The nerve.
The nerve. I mean, so I just play that to highlight the point, when are these people going to wake up? Are Democrat voters lost? I think that they're waking up in record numbers. I do. So we're going to continue this Agenda Free Friday. Taking your calls, letting you dictate where the conversation goes. I see Justin in Old Hickory, Robbie in Chapel Hill. You guys got some good topics to talk about. We'll get to you next. It is 9:20 on the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. If you've been suffering with pain, you don't know what to do about it, but you don't want to take a pill, you don't want to go get surgery because you're afraid of downtime, then you need to actually call my friends at the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. Because, listen, the Dr. Gill Center can help you get back to pain-free life without pills, without downtime, without surgery, without needles. These guys are amazing. So whatever kind of pain you're dealing with, back, neck, knee, hip, elbow, it can all be treated with no needles and no downtime. At the Dr. Gill Center, they've been doing just that, helping people get back to a pain-free life for over 30 years. And right now, the Dr. Gill Center is going to offer you a special offer if you're looking for a non-surgical solution for the pain that you're suffering with. So right now, $49 will get you all of your new patient initial examinations, x-rays, and a complete review of findings. So it's less than $50 to find out what's causing your pain. And you don't have to take pills. You don't have to do needles. You don't have to have downtime. Give the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin a call right now and begin your journey in becoming pain-free. You deserve it. You owe it to yourself. Call 615-882-4838. That's 615-882-4838 and tell them Chris Hand told you to call. Don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, one person is dead after an explosion. That is here in Middle Tennessee. You better leave soon if you want to avoid some of the heaviest Labor Day weekend traffic. And millions of cable TV subscribers are cut off from college football, even Monday Night Football. I'll tell you about it at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're doing a thing called Agenda Free Friday, letting you dictate where the conversation's going to go. And just to prove, just to 100% prove that I'm actually going to let you dictate where the conversation goes. What number was it? Oh, man, I lost the text. Anyway, it doesn't matter what the number was. They'll know I'm talking about them. Somebody asked me what I think about Q, the QAnon.
Ah, okay.
All right. Well, listen, this is exactly what I'm going to
7125.
7125. All right. What do I think about QAnon? I just want to point you towards a thing that was called Operation Trust. Operation Trust was a counterintelligence operation of the State Political Directorate of the Soviet Union. So what Operation Trust was, is it was set up by these guys in the Soviet Union to set up fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organizations in order to help identify real monarchists and anti-Bolsheviks. So, like the Q stuff, there was definitely grains of truth in it and snippets of truth, but I don't think that it was real. I think it was an Operation Trust the same way that happened from 1921 to 1926 in Russia. It was a way to kind of corral everybody and say, don't worry, we got it. It was probably the CIA. QAnon was probably the CIA, and it was probably counterintelligence just trying to see who would latch onto it. That's my opinion. Operation Trust. Google it if you have some time. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Here's Ken Weaver with the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, an investigation's underway after a deadly explosion. It killed one person. Reports say the Arrington Fire Department responded to a house fire around 2:30 this morning. When they got there, the home was in pieces. Heavy smoke and flames still there. 2 other homes nearby were damaged. Better leave soon if you want to avoid some of the heaviest Labor Day weekend traffic. Today, between 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. is the worst. So will tomorrow between 10 and 4, and then Monday between 10 and 6. Entertainment news, millions of cable TV subscribers have lost ESPN, college football games, even Monday Night Football. Here's Josh Eniger.
Until an agreement is reached, Spectrum TV subscribers nationwide will not have access to the ESPN networks, the Disney-branded channels, Freeform, the FX networks, and the National Geographic channels. What's more, viewers in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut will not have access to ABC through local station WABC.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. There was a recent study by J.D. Power looking at how happy investors were with their advisors, and it wasn't pretty. What they found was only 11% of the respondents said that they were getting comprehensive financial planning, that the fees were clear, and that they felt that the advisor was acting in their best interest. Not a good picture, 11%. Now, one of the things that we do is we do comprehensive planning. We fit all of those bills, number one. But one of the things I want to talk about is in the financial planning process, what I think it ought to look like and what is available that people aren't getting. And one of the things is called probability analysis. So in essence, this is what we're talking about. We're trying to accumulate money for retirement. Put money aside, hoping that we'll have enough so that we can have income throughout retirement. And what we find is that people have Social Security, they have pensions in their financial plan, and they also have investments. Now, with their investments, we want to do something very specific that it really requires quite an academic background to do this. And this is where we look at the cost of capital of the various things that you own in your investment portfolio. It sounds scary, it sounds really detailed, but here's the idea. is if we look at various asset classes like large stocks and small stocks and large value and bonds and so on and so forth, we know the expected return or the cost that these entities have to pay to use your money. So we can come up with an expected return of the portfolio. We can also come up with what's called standard deviation, or how much that portfolio return may deviate from the expected return. Now that's a whole other video, but what I want to do is show you how we use this. If I look at a financial plan and I say, well, you got this area, this area, this area, what I can do is I can say, well, based on when you want to retire, this is how much income you can take, and here's the likelihood of being able to have this income survive throughout your entire life. And the way it works is this. If I take a portfolio and I say, there's the expected return, I can look at history and say, well, the way your portfolio is designed, how might your one-year returns vary from the expected return, the long-term expected return? Well, what we know from academic research is that portfolios well designed and properly managed in ways that I can't get into right now, it's too complicated, portfolios actually close in an expected return, but we don't know what the short-term returns are going to be. So what we do is we project out and say, well, what if the return that happened in 1936 is followed by the return that happened in 1975, which is followed by the return in 1995, or what if it's reversed? What if they happen in different orders? And we can do 1,000 iterations, different variations on when those and how those returns may come in. And what that does is, because we can't predict the future, what return's going to follow the other, we can figure out, is it likely that we are going to be able to take the income that we need throughout retirement from this portfolio? And if not, how can we rearrange the furniture or the portfolio to give us a higher likelihood of success? And we look at life expectancies, we look at a lot of different things, but this is what is available to people that they're not getting from the financial planning community. If you want to know more, go to paulwinkler.com, set up a free 15-minute phone call, paulwinkler.com, and come in and find out more about what we do.
.936 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Trying a new thing on the show today, calling it Agenda Free Friday. Yes, for all you super texters, I'm not saying Gender Free Friday. I'm saying agenda, like your daily planner. It's an Agenda Free Friday. I'm going to let you dictate where the conversation goes. So call me and let's see what happens. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. All right. I see a couple people have been holding for a little while. let's go to Justin first. Robbie, you'll be next. Justin in Old Hickory, you have a comment on a Trump press release. What's up? What's up, Justin?
Yeah, man. I just want to know. You guys have Marsha Blackburn and the governor on all the time, and we need to know what their stance is on this whole mask mandate thing. I mean, we know where Trump stands on it, but like in Tennessee, how are they going to treat us when all this comes down? So, I mean, Brian Wilson or Matt or you need to ask the governor and Cameron Sexton or any of these guys, well, how they're going to treat us, what they're going to do to us when it comes down, essentially.
Well, I mean, as far as Governor Lee, I mean, it was like, what was it, late 2021? He was signing into law, trying to ban mask mandates in schools. He already said that, businesses can't ask for your vaccination status. I don't know. I'm not worried about it here in Tennessee. And as far as Marsha Blackburn and whatever, like, I don't know. I think like looking to politicians for like what's going to happen in these situations is kind of useless, because if there's enough of us that just say no, then the answer is no. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly.
Like,
yep, of course.
All we need to do is just like link arms and just be like, yeah, sorry, hard pass. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I agree.
And I'll be here to push back against all of that kind of stuff. And then my another point on that is, I don't know if Joe Biden is actually, like, I think they floated this out here to see what the reception would be. And it was, people have pushed back against it overwhelmingly. And with all the failures of the Biden administration, I'm not sure they really want to bring back and reopen this old wound, of the mandate era and all the servicemen and women they kicked out for not getting vaccinated. I don't think they want to shut down businesses again and ruin the economy even worse before an election. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. I don't think that I don't think they have any legs to stand on for it, even if they wanted to push it. And I'm not sure they actually want to push it.
Well, I hope you're right. Really do.
I hope I'm right too. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to tell you, and I'll be the first to be screaming on your radio about it. Sound good?
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call, Justin. It's Agenda-Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. Robbie in Chapel Hill, you want to talk about term limits. What's up, Robbie? You're on Super Talk 99.7.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm living the dream. So I had to think about, I know a couple people called in about, term limits, all that kind of stuff. But while I agree with everything they say as far as issues go, I don't think the solution is term limits. Just because, they're not bureaucrats. Like, it's not like they got, appointed a position and they're just staying there forever. They have elections.
Yep.
I think it's the biggest thing with that is it's more of a societal issue as far as our voting population goes. You can make the case for name recognition and all that kind of stuff, or they're running unopposed. That's just another call for people to get more involved in politics, in my personal opinion. But the only thing backing up my claim for, well, not only, but many things backing up my claim for societal issue of voter population. So I'm only 27. My very first election I got to vote in was the 2016 election, which was awesome. But at the same time, I don't know if y'all remember, I think like 3 or 4% of the population voted for a dead gorilla. The whole as far as like fixing that, I don't know how you go about doing that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Even in the last election, 81 million votes voted for a brain dead politician. So, it's definitely an issue. Allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. Like, term limits are silly. Like, if you put in term limits, you end up losing the good guys like Rand Paul.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm with you, man. I don't know what the answer is on that. I think that unfortunately, whether we like it or not, a lot of the population of this country is not smart. It's just something that we're gonna have to come to grips with, and they're going to write in dead gorillas. Some people might just be doing it for the lulz. It's pretty funny. If you didn't like either candidate, to write in a dead gorilla is kind of funny. So I don't mind that.
People did it with Kanye.
People did it with Kanye. Yeah. I don't know. I get where he's at. John in Franklin, you have an idea for Congress. John is going to fix the world's problems. What's up, John? You're on Super Talk 99.7. What's your idea?
Hey, Chris, good morning. I was thinking kind of, picking Congress almost like jury duty, right? Like, I got to hash out some details on this, but like if once you hit like 25, you sign up, you can attach a party affiliate, Libertarian, Republican, Democrat, whatever, and then a lottery is drawn and you get your name on there, and all of a sudden you're running for Congress, and then your campaign would be completely publicly funded, no PACs or donors, and then we would just pick, and we would really have people represent us that are from our peer group.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a cool idea. I think that you'd have a hard time getting those donor class to go along with something like that. But I think it's more in line with what the founders wanted, as far as you go to Congress as a service to your country, and then you go back to your job. So yeah, I mean, it's a cool idea. I don't want to be a wet blanket or a fart in church, but I don't think it would ever get off the ground.
No, of course not. Nothing ever will.
Nothing ever will. At least I'm not the one bringing bad news to you, John.
I appreciate you. Have a good one.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. All right, we got a super texter, 8602, says, I have a topic. Thank you. It's Agenda Free Friday. Whatever you want the topic to be, you can text us or call us at 615-737-9986. I have a topic, says 8602. Why does nobody see that this imposter in office doesn't even resemble the real Joe Biden? Not sure who he is. Maybe an actor named Arthur Roberts. Interesting. I don't know. He's gotten a bunch of facelifts. I was talking about body doubles before. Like, I don't know if we're going to go out on a limb and say it's not the real Joe Biden, but I don't think we're going out on a limb to say the leader of the free world, whether it be Joe Biden or Trump or Obama before him, wouldn't have body doubles. Like, that's not a stretch. Mac's looking at me like I'm crazy. I don't think it's a stretch. I don't. We were talking about red-pilled movies earlier.
Oh, yeah, I heard some of that on the Four Amigos.
All right, there's a movie called The Devil's Double.
Okay.
And it's they didn't release it in America because they thought it would glorify the Hussein boys, Uday and Qusay, like Scarface.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's this movie, and it's based on a true story, and it's about a guy that looked like Uday and was kidnapped in Iraq, and they gave him plastic surgery, teeth implants, and all this, and from then on he was the body double for Uday, and it's called The Devil's Double. And I don't think that's a stretch. Why is that a stretch to think that the CIA would have contingency plans, or the Secret Service would have contingency plans for the president or the leader of the free world? So like whenever anybody says, oh, look at Joe Biden's earlobes don't match in this picture and his earlobes in that picture don't match, it's like, okay, well, I mean, maybe they just sent out a double that day. Maybe there's a security threat. I don't know. I don't think that's a weird thing to think. It's just, I think,
8548 said, and I don't know if this, you could maybe verify that Adolf Hitler even had body doubles.
You were in charge of the fact checking, Mac.
Chris, look that up for me, please.
Yeah, all right, let me Google that for you, Mac.
Yeah, thank you. Get right on it. All right, I'll go look it up.
I mean, it's not a stretch. It's not a stretch. 8394 said, no actor is talented enough to fake that level of incompetence. It's so funny. Duffy texted in and said, John Fetterman is now definitely not the same guy from a couple months ago. Lurch has left the building. I don't know. John Fetterman? Is he the same guy? I don't pay enough attention to John Fetterman. I'm not Googling pictures of John Fetterman all the time.
Adolf Hitler may have used lookalikes as political decoys, though there's no sure evidence that he did so during his life.
Dude, I mean, listen, all of this stuff is
alleged.
The real stuff is always stranger. In World War II, you know what one of their things that they did? They used inflatables for surveillance planes. So like Churchill had a bunch of inflatable tanks, like just balloons. So they couldn't make real tanks, so they inflated some and like staged them in areas to make it look like they were building up forces in certain areas. Like, this is stuff they don't talk about, but it's out there. It's real. This is what happens when you dive down rabbit holes. All of this stuff is provable. It's been declassified. I'm Googling the inflatable tanks. I don't remember the exact. Did they use inflatable tanks in World War II? In one operation in September of 1944, the British deployed 148 inflatable tanks close to the front lines, and around half were destroyed by fragments from German mortar and artillery fire. And they did it just to, for the optics, keep up. Make it look
they look pretty real.
Dude, I saw one. It was like a guy lifting up a tank.
Yeah.
It's like looking like Superman.
Yeah, there's these pictures of them carrying. That's crazy.
There is so many weird things that's happened in history that just kind of get brushed under the rug. So I don't know. Body doubles, I don't think that's the weirdest thing in history. 7793 said they also gave England, they also put them on airfields in England to give the perception of a more robust army. Yep. 9945 said Max should get a body double. Then he would only have to work 50% of the week.
That's it. 9945. You figured it out.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Here's, there's so much fun stuff to talk about. This is why I love Agenda Free Friday. I want you to dictate where the conversation goes on Fridays. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. 5661 texted in and said there's all kinds of documentaries about the inflatable forces and miniature paratroopers dropping from the sky. Yep. 9707 said, I believe the Germans used cardboard tank cutouts. Yeah. Yeah. We got a call from Lieutenant Bob McFadden. Yeah, you got a comment on body doubles, Lieutenant Bob? What's up?
Yes, sir. George Washington had at least two body doubles. One of them was Colonel, later General, Elias Dayton, the man Dayton, Ohio was named for, and Major General Philip Schuyler of Albany.
Really?
That is correct.
So where'd you get that knowledge? What was it verified? And I haven't heard the Washington stuff. I'm not questioning you. I'm just curious.
Well, I was a college professor for a number of years, as well as being a police officer. And it's in James Thomas Flexner's book. It's called The Indispensable Man, George Washington, and also in his 4-volume history, James Thomas Flexner's 4 volumes on George Washington.
I mean, none of it shocks me. Why wouldn't you protect the most important guy in the country with a body double? Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and if you saw a portrait of Elias Dayton, you'd say, that's George Washington.
Hey, man, it doesn't shock me. Thanks for the call, Lieutenant Bob. Doppelgangers, everybody, in use since 1776. Doppelgangers. I mean, it must have been a lot harder in 1776 than it is in 2023 with all the advances we have in plastic surgery. The body doubles, of course, they have body doubles. Wouldn't you want a body double if you had the opportunity? I would. I do a lot more crazy things, I tell you what. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for the guys at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, if you're looking at your sidewalk or your driveway, you notice that it's settling. Maybe you have some sinking slabs or patio steps, or your porch steps tilted. Well, the guys you need to call are USS. I mean, these sidewalks or patios creating a trip hazard, it's potentially dangerous. And the guys at USS can fix all of that for you. And they even specialize in your crawl space. I went down to my crawl space the other day. It's a war zone. So I called the guys at USS. Now, luckily, I didn't have any water down there, but I do need to get that thing encapsulated. So these guys are going to take care of it for me. Now, if you're noticing water in your crawl space, if you're noticing wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors, well, your house is trying to tell you something. And the guys at USS will check it out for you. They'll come in, get you an estimate. They have all these new options. When I got my estimate, they gave me one option and they gave me another option, both guaranteed for life. And one of the options was $1,000 cheaper. I mean, it's unbelievable. They will tailor make a plan for your house and for you. USS. It's no wonder they have 25,000 satisfied customers. And I'm confident if you give them a call today, you'll be 25,001. It's one of those things you don't know you need it until you know you need it. So call these guys and help them figure out a plan for your crawl space. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems. Everything's online at USSTN.com.
Deadly explosion in Middle Tennessee. A big day for student loan borrowers and best drive times for the Labor Day holiday weekend. And a world champion sumo wrestler makes his college football debut this weekend. These stories and more at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Unfortunately, nobody will be able to watch it because it's on ESPN.
Well, it depends on what your cable provider is.
Fair enough. Spectrum just messing it up for everybody. It is 9:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're trying a new thing on the show called Agenda Free Friday. Not Gender Free Friday. It's only two of those. Agenda Free Friday. Letting you dictate where the conversation goes, whatever you want to talk about. Current events, past events, weird events. 615-737-9986. We were talking about body doubles. I don't know if we've ever covered body doubles on Super Talk before.
I don't know.
Mine's double.
We said, we covered Washington, Hitler, the Hussein boys, and no, not Barack, but Uday and Qusay, and Joe Biden and his earlobes. Somebody actually said, that's true about Hitler's body double. This was from 0128. They texted in. That's true about Hitler having a body double. Actually, Hitler's still alive, and he goes by the name Nancy Pelosi. If you look real close at her face, you can see the resemblance.
What a ridiculous clown show.
It is a ridiculous clown show. That would be believable if Nancy was from Venezuela or Argentina. What's the rumor? What rumored country did Hitler escape to? Did you ever hear that?
Yeah, I think it was Argentina.
Was
right?
it Argentina?
Yeah, I think so.
Classic. Classic. Yeah, all right. Anything you want to talk about? It's Agenda Free Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So call us 615-737-9986. The time, my friends, 10 o'clock. Ken Weaver's got the headlines on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, reports say a propane tank is the source of an explosion which killed one person overnight. Arrington firefighters responded to a call of a house fire around 2:30 this morning. And when they got to it, they say that house was in pieces. Images all over social media of it. Channel 4 says a 70-year-old woman was killed. 2 nearby homes were damaged. A big day ahead for federal student loan borrowers. Elizabeth Schulze says as of this morning, interest on balances accrue after a 3-year pandemic pause and ahead of a full restart of loan payments next month.
This is a big deal because interest can very quickly add up. The average American with a student loan balance of around $37,000 will pay nearly $25,000 in interest over the life of the loan. Now, it's important to know that you don't actually have to start making payments until October, but the bottom line today, experts say now is the time to log into your account, check your balance, and make a plan for when payments resume.
Holiday travel update, Mireya Villarreal.
AAA does give us a good idea of when the best time is to drive. Today between 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. is the worst. It will be really bad. So will tomorrow between 10 and 4 and Monday between 10 and 6. So if you're wondering when the best time is to avoid traffic, if it feels like it's overnight, but it's actually before 11 a.m. and after 7 p.m. and Sunday should also be light.
Lots of football today and especially tomorrow at Nissan Stadium when the Vols hang half 100 on Virginia. Danny News says world sumo wrestling champion Hitoru Hanada at 6'1", 280 pounds is making his debut.
He first discovered football when he was 7, but since it's hard to find the gridiron in his hometown of Wakayama, Japan, Hanada turned to the country's more popular option for really strong dudes. But Hanada never forgot his NFL dreams and signed up to attend the Canadian Football League's Combine this past March. Hanada accepted an offer to come to America and join the CSU Rams. And now he is ready for his first college football game this Saturday, although he's not stopping there.
I want to participate a Super Bowl.
That'd be cool. And then win.
Yeah, win.
I'd like to see a sumo wrestler as running back. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Here we go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 10:05. My name is Chris Hand. Starting a new thing on the show, calling it Agenda Free Friday. I'm going to let you dictate where we go with the conversation. Anything you want to talk about. Nothing is off limits. I mean, in the first hour, we talked about body doubles, inflatable tanks in World War II. We mentioned Operation Northwoods. We mentioned Hitler fleeing to Argentina. I mean, I don't know.
Went through it all, man. It was a lot.
We covered everything. We're diving down rabbit holes. We also talked about term limits for Congress.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one.
We talked about what else did we talk about?
Mask mandates.
Like, I love the Agenda Free Friday stuff. So anything you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. Feel free to call. Feel free to text. Getting a lot of super text. 615-737-9986.
We've got one from Mr. MAGA.
Mr. MAGA.
2428. Chris Hand, and in parentheses, Mr. Based, which I like, Mr. Based.
Okay.
Your theory of dinosaurs.
Oh. Here's the third rail. Okay, all right. I was just saying to Mac off the air, I was like, I'm not going to get in trouble, I don't think, talking about what we've talked about. Now they want to talk about dinosaurs. All right. I don't know. They're not mentioned in the Bible, are they? I don't know. Dinosaurs are weird, man. Dinosaurs are weird. Like, how do we know what they look like if we just get bones? I feel like the whole fossil fuels thing, fossil fuels coming from dinosaur bones. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I also think it's weird that people think dinosaurs roared. Like, how do you know dinosaurs roared? How do you know that?
It's true.
I just think it's weird. I feel like they could have meowed for all we know. I don't really have a theory on dinosaurs. I just think dinosaurs are weird. Is that all right? Is that okay? I just think dinosaurs are weird. That's my theory on dinosaurs.
There we go. There it is.
Literally nothing is off limits on Agenda Free Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. People are saying dinosaurs are mentioned in the Bible. They're the behemoth. All right. Okay. I don't know how they roared, though. Answer that. Answer that, 1220. How do we know? In 1505.
I'm just picturing the T-Rex now in Jurassic Park. Just, meow.
I mean, it could have. It could have squeaked like a mouse. We don't know. Have you ever seen a dinosaur?
Well, we have Godzilla movies.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be more willing to believe in a real Godzilla than I would in a dinosaur roaring.
Well, we should check with some of those people who were taking temperatures back in, 120,000 years ago.
Yes.
Maybe it's in some of their journals.
That's all I'm saying. I just think the whole thing's weird. I don't know. I don't know where to go with that. But I'm just trying to illustrate the point that nothing is off limits on Agenda Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. There is something I want to talk about. Have you guys heard about these ULEZ zones in England? Okay,
no.
So in London, they have what's called an ultra-low emission zone. Okay? They introduced it in 2019, and these ultra-low emission zones around London were used to discourage drivers from driving high-polluting vehicles on central roads in London, England. Okay? Now, in October of 21, they expanded it, and they're expanding it even more now. So basically, if you have a car that's older than, I think it was like 2000, right? Older than 2000 in London, England, and you drive it in London, you're getting fined every single day. And the fine is like $14 after you do the euro to dollar conversion. $14 a day. So they've set up all these cameras. They have more than 300 cameras. They have way more than 300. But they've set up all these cameras to monitor this, and people are fighting back. and they're being called the Blade Runners. And these guys are going out vandalizing the cameras. So more than based, right?
That is awesome.
So more than 300 cameras have been vandalized or stolen between April and mid-August, the BBC revealed. This is like the slippery slope that, like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the license plate cameras in Nashville are a good thing. They're for safety. Well, every camera in London was installed for safety too. And now they're being used to fine people for driving an old car.
If there is a shutdown.
What are you doing? What was that?
Sorry about that, boys.
I thought that was Mac.
I know. Of course, Chris. Mac, what did you do wrong? What was it?
Ken gets a pass.
Yeah, of course.
Mac.
Fair enough.
So all these cameras are charging people for having old cars if you drive them in London, and these guys are running around. They're called Blade Runners. Have you ever seen those things they use to prune trees?
Yeah.
Like the big things?
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're using to take these cameras out.
Wow.
So they've taken out over 300 of them. The BBC's reporting that over the 4 months, the Met received 339 reports of camera cables being damaged or cameras being stolen or obscured. Now, the actual number of cameras affected is likely to be even higher, as one report can represent multiple cameras. Unofficial data mapping the location of disabled cameras suggests that almost 500 cameras have been affected, and it also suggests that the vast majority have been in outer London, where the zone is being expanded. So 1,900 cameras have been installed to fine people for driving older cars in London. Like, that's tyranny. Is that not tyranny? Is it like? I wonder. My dad used to always say to me when I was a kid, "Pay attention to what's happening in Europe, because we're always 10 to 15 years away from it here in America." So I think that's sped up a little bit in recent years, and this mass surveillance and policing for profit, I am not a fan of. And it starts with safety. They always appeal to your fear, right? So it'll start with safety. And we're seeing it. So this weekend, it's Labor Day weekend, right? Gonna be lots of barbecues, lots of parties, people hanging out. Well, New York City police this weekend are going to use drones to monitor backyard parties. They're going to be flying drones overhead to monitor your backyard parties, spurring privacy concerns in New York City. All in the name of safety, my friends. All in the name of safety. So this is from the AP. Those attending outdoor parties or barbecues in New York City this weekend may notice an uninvited guest looming over their festivities: a police surveillance drone. The New York City Police Department plans to pilot the unmanned aircrafts in response to complaints about large gatherings, including private events, over Labor Day weekend, officials announced Thursday. If a caller states there's a large crowd, a large party in a backyard, we're going to be utilizing our assets to go up and go check on the party, the assistant NYPD commissioner said at a press conference. I understand crime is out of control. I understand things are crazy. I am still not a fan of the police flying drones over people's backyard neighborhoods. Why is that okay? A lot of people are saying that we would shoot it down in Tennessee. Yep, I agree. But this is how they slow trot you towards tyranny in the name of fear. Oh, it's all for your safety. It's all for your safety. Listen, I don't want anybody to worry about my safety but me. Is that too hard of a stance? I think everybody should personally be responsible for their own safety. And I don't think that we need the police flying drones over neighborhoods, over backyard barbecues in New York City. And like we see in London, those cameras eventually that were put up in the name of safety will be turned against you. 9495 texted and said, drone over my yard. Try that in a small town. LOL. I mean, listen, I think that there may be some downed drones over the weekend. Yep. 9944 said it starts with drones and then it'll end up like Hitler in 1938 when he told everybody as they were collecting their guns door to door that it was for their safety. Exactly. They're always preying on fear. They're always, using the safety angle. So they're flying drones over backyard barbecues in New York City. And they don't go into detail. They say, oh, if it's a large crowd. Well, how do you define large crowd? How would you define a large crowd? More than 10? More than 20? More than 30? Like, give me some definitions. And somebody texts in. This is the other thing that's crazy. It's always this, and we saw this during COVID too. The silent tyrants that will text in and put these complaints in. So if New York City police gets a message that there's a large crowd, somebody calls in and says there's a large crowd or a large party in a backyard over Labor Day weekend, they're going to send a drone up to go inspect it. That's absolute invasion of privacy, absolute just tyranny. That's tyranny. The NYPD is one of the largest police departments in the country. They're basically a mini army. They should be able to handle this without having to fly a drone overhead and just spy on people illegally. Is that a weird statement? Am I weird for thinking that? Corey in Murfreesboro, you have a comment on drones. You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Corey?
Oh, not much. How about you, my friend?
I'm good, man. What's up? You got a comment on these drones?
Yes, sir. As somebody who does drones as a hobby and purely as a hobby, it would depend on what they're checking on before I would have a problem with it. Obviously, I'm okay with drones, whether they're mine or not, but it would depend if they're saying, you can't have X amount of people. You can't, first of all, a backyard barbecue in New York City I've never heard of. And so I was just saying if they're checking to see if they're doing other things, yeah, that's an invasion. But, I mean, drones are useful.
Well, they're saying that
100%.
They're saying if they get a caller that says there's a large gathering in a backyard barbecue, they're going to send the drone up to check it out. And Mayor Eric Adams is saying he wants to see police further embrace the endless potential of these drones. And he cites Israel's use of the technology as a blueprint.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's a good reference to base it off of. And coming from the source of Eric Adams, I would take that with a grain of salt. Even as a drone pilot, quote unquote, but there are more positives than negatives, just like the license plate readers. It's a fantastic idea until somebody uses it as a weapon, and then there's a problem. Same thing with drones. It's a great asset to have until you can weaponize it, depending on what end of the spectrum you are on that. I guess.
I mean, I feel like they always sneak these things in as a good idea, and then it's a slippery slope down to, license plate readers are great until they start charging you for having an old car in the city.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
But once they're there, it's hard to go backwards. Once the drones are in the sky, it's gonna be hard to pull back from it.
Indeed.
8390. Yeah, hey, thanks for the call, Corey. Really appreciate you. 8394 texted in, said, those willing to trade liberty for safety deserve neither. Absolutely. Ray said, but what is the purpose of them checking on the size of the crowd? What has been said, but they can't do it, or what? I don't know. I don't know what the purpose is. Just seems like an invasion of privacy. And what business do they have, checking on the size of a crowd? I understand where people are at. You have these mobs roaming around New York City, looting and things of that nature. But until a crime is being committed, we have the freedom of assembly in this country. You're allowed to go have a large group, regardless of what the government tells you. And they're going to fly a drone overhead in New York City this weekend if somebody calls and says you have a too large of a group. A super texter said, what's the number? I'm going to call them all day.
Yes.
It's like the text line for 911 that they just instituted here. People are texting about all sorts of random things. It's yeah. It looks good on paper. Looked like a great idea on paper. It's Agenda-Free Friday. Agenda-Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm willing to talk about. 615-737-9986. The time is 10:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Deadly explosion in Middle Tennessee. We've got an update on a deadly crash that shut down one of our interstates yesterday afternoon. And a holiday travel update, a reminder to anyone who gets out of hand on a flight this weekend. These stories and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So you're saying if you're on a plane, you shouldn't be shouting about people not being real?
Let me tell you something. Pete Buttigieg is shaking his finger at you right now.
That mother is not real.
You're not real. White House rolling him out.
I've seen the online theories about that woman just not being real. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that she's not real?
That she's not real.
She's the one that's not real.
See, that's blowing my mind.
Spoiler alert.
Now
It's
I'm
like
starting to worry about me.
It's like conspiracy theory inception, boys. Something that's not a conspiracy theory. New York police will be using drones to monitor backyard parties this weekend, spurring privacy concerns. Yep. Unbelievable. 9495 texted and he said, reminds me a lot of the last time we talked about the size of your party you can have in your private residence. Yeah, absolutely. Got crazy there for a while. Dave in Hendersonville, you have a comment on the drones. Dave, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Dave?
How's it going, Chris?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain. Hey, shoot them down. That's a really good idea, but to say so you wouldn't get in trouble, you can't fire a firearm in city limits against the law. And I thought, well, paintball guns aren't against the law. You can use paintball guns. Then I thought, well, they'll get you for destroying government property. Just take your hose, your water hose with a high pressure on it, and get it with a high pressure.
I like it. Dave, thank you for the options there. If you can't shoot it down within city limits, you go paintball gun or water hose. All right. I like it. Dave, no, sorry, that was Dave. Steve in Lebanon, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Steve? You got a comment on the drones? Steve, you're on Super Talk. Steven.
Oh yes. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to dig a little deeper on something I was thinking about. Like when the red light cameras first came out, like I know they were in Gallatin, Mount Juliet. I don't know what other areas around Nashville. There's a ton of them in Knoxville still. Something about getting a red light ticket bothered me more than a cop seeing me run a red light. So part of this is the whole idea of cameras in general, and I don't know.
I'm with you. So
that may be a totally separate issue, but there's something about a person seeing me do something wrong versus any type of a camera or surveillance type device. It just feels a little bit different. It just doesn't sit with me right. I'm not sure why, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
So I'll tell you why it doesn't sit with me right. And I think growing up, I was always told that the job of the police is to keep people safe. And I feel like the minute that they're installing these cameras, it feels like they're policing for profit. It doesn't feel like they're policing to keep me safe. It doesn't feel like they're trying to make the intersection more safe. It feels like they're going for gotcha moments and low effort money grabs. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. It just feels like policing for profits. And I love the police. I'm cool with them. Like I want them to come when I need them. And I don't blame the police for the red light cameras because they didn't put them up. It's not like the sergeant was up there screwing the thing up. That's on the city. But thanks for your call. I really appreciate it, Steve. Paul in Wilson County, you want to talk privacy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Paul?
Hey, give me just a second. Sorry.
Oh.
I had to get you off speakerphone.
Oh, I appreciate it, Paul.
A couple of things, actually, now that we've been talking. I misspoke. It's not really about privacy. I'm talking about the drones and license plate readers in general.
Yeah, hit me. Bring it.
But first of all, I want to say welcome to Tennessee. I love your work, man.
Oh, thank you so much. We've lived in Murfreesboro for like 8 years. I'm just new to the stations. I love Middle Tennessee. I had a chance to go to Arizona.
I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're in Middle Tennessee.
Me too. I had a chance to go to Arizona to work with the guys at Turning Point USA, and I was just blessed to be able to get this gig and stay here. And I got kids in the school system in Middle Tennessee. We go to great private school in Murfreesboro. We love the people that are there, and we just didn't want to leave it all. But what's your comment on privacy? Sorry, we could talk about Murfreesboro all day.
Right. It's the whole issue of where you were going earlier. It's tyranny.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to understand. And the guy who talked about the drones earlier and someone else who talked about license plate readers. Anytime you give the government an opportunity to police and tighter the reins of control on you, they will abuse it eventually.
Yep.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they will. And that was one of the big lessons we got out throughout our early history was minimize government because that minimizes its opportunity to control you. To tell you where you can go, what you can say, what you can eat, where all of that. Those are rights of individual freedom, and we can't give them these tools that someone, because we all know politicians, by their very nature, as a general rule, are corruptible and will become corrupted.
Yep.
And they will use those against us.
Oh, absolutely. The slippery slope is real. It's not a fallacy. It's real. We've seen it happen so many different times. And New York City is already one of the most surveyed cities in the country. And now they're going to fly drones over your backyard. Unbelievable. Then as far as license plate readers and red light cameras, to me, it just feels like we're going towards policing for profit. While I'm a fan of the police, policing for profit is not something I think we should ever do.
I love the police. And especially once that whole BLM issue, I became very loudly pro-police as opposed to just, the cops in my hometown tend to wave to me before I wave to them. They're just so in the habit of seeing my car and seeing me wave. But, they're there to protect us, not surveil us.
Yep.
This is not
100%.
East Germany, 1946.
Amen. Thanks for the call, Paul. I really appreciate you.
Oh, wait. One more thing real quick.
Yeah, tell me.
Comment on a couple of guys, the texters. The guy that said, give me the phone number, I'm going to call it every day, all weekend long.
Yeah.
And Russell Lawyer's got one up there about reporting in the mayor. Get together, report the mayor every hour, because, he's going to have a big party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Call him on the mayor. I love it. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you, man. Jim in Mount Juliet, you got a comment on red light cameras, and we're going to get to you next. Sorry, I just realized we got to hit the news. Jim, hang on the line. Mike in the borough, hang on the line. We got more calls from you next. It's Agenda-Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Arrington firefighters say a woman died in a house explosion around 2:30 this morning. Images on social media show the home was left in pieces. A propane tank is believed to be the source of the explosion, but the cause is under investigation. Metro Police releasing the name of the driver killed in a crash that shut down I-24 yesterday afternoon. They say 20-year-old Ivan Boykin of Smyrna was killed after the 2004 Honda Accord he was driving went out of control, traveled across several lanes, then struck a guardrail at Hickory Hollow. Holiday travel update. The White House rolling out Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg for Labor Day weekend travel interviews. He says you better be on your best behavior.
We are continuing the zero-tolerance policy for people who act out on an airplane. The flight crew are there to keep you safe, and they deserve to be treated with respect.
TSA expecting to screen more than 14 million passengers over this holiday period, and that's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. There was a recent study by J.D. Power looking at how happy investors were with their advisors, and it wasn't pretty. What they found was only 11% of the respondents said that they were getting comprehensive financial planning, that the fees were clear, and that they felt that the advisor was acting in their best interest. Not a good picture, 11%. Now, one of the things that we do is we do comprehensive planning. We fit all of those bills, number one. But one of the things I want to talk about is in the financial planning process, what I think it ought to look like and what is available that people aren't getting. And one of the things is called probability analysis. So in essence, this is what we're talking about. We're trying to accumulate money for retirement. Put money aside, hoping that we'll have enough so that we can have income throughout retirement. And what we find is that people have Social Security, they have pensions in their financial plan, and they also have investments. Now, with their investments, we want to do something very specific that it really requires quite an academic background to do this. And this is where we look at the cost of capital of the various things that you own in your investment portfolio. It sounds scary, it sounds really detailed, but here's the idea. Is if we look at various asset classes like large stocks and small stocks and large value and bonds and so on and so forth, we know the expected return or the cost that these entities have to pay to use your money. So we can come up with an expected return of the portfolio. We can also come up with what's called standard deviation, or how much that portfolio return may deviate from the expected return. Now that's a whole other video, but what I want to do is show you how we use this. If I look at a financial plan and I say, well, you got this area, this area, this area, what I can do is I can say, well, based on when you want to retire, this is how much income you can take, and here's the likelihood of being able to have this income survive throughout your entire life. And the way it works is this. If I take a portfolio and I say, there's the expected return, I can look at history and say, well, the way your portfolio is designed, how might your one-year returns vary from the expected return, the long-term expected return? Well, what we know from academic research is that portfolios well designed and properly managed in ways that I can't get into right now, it's too complicated, portfolios actually close in an expected return, but we don't know what the short-term returns are going to be. So what we do is we project out and say, well, what if the return that happened in 1936 is followed by the return that happened in 1975, which is followed by the return in 1995, or what if it's reversed? What if they happen in different orders? And we can do 1,000 iterations, different variations on when those and how those returns may come in. And what that does is, because we can't predict the future, what return is going to follow the other, we can figure out, is it likely that we are going to be able to take the income that we need throughout retirement from this portfolio? And if not, how can we rearrange the furniture or the portfolio to give us a higher likelihood of success? And we look at life expectancies, we look at a lot of different things, but this is what is available to people that they're not getting from the financial planning community. If you want to know more, go to paulwinkler.com, set up a free 15-minute phone call, paulwinkler.com, and come in and find out more about what we do.
We aren't going to touch on. We did touch on London having this ultra-low emission zone, London, England, and they're fining people for driving older cars, about $14 a day, which then led us down the road to what the New York City Police Department's doing this weekend. They're going to be flying drones to monitor backyard parties this weekend, spurring, as you can imagine, privacy concerns. That snowballed into a conversation about the license plate readers and red light cameras, and that's kind of where we're at right now. JT commented, he said, Uncle Phil used to rant about people who say if you aren't doing anything wrong, why do you care if there's camera surveillance? Phil Valentine's answer would be, if you have proof I'm doing something wrong, send in a camera. If not, I'm innocent until proven guilty, and it is none your business what I'm doing. That is why there are search warrants. Police just can't barge in on a fishing expedition. Yep. Scott texted in, he said, I was a cop for 30 years. Hate red light and speeding cameras. There needs to be human interaction in law enforcement and public safety. Jim in Mount Juliet on line 1. You have a comment on red light cameras. Jim, thanks for hanging on hold. What's up, Jim? What's your comment?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I want to point out the obvious, but red light and speed cameras are in a whole different category from license plate readers. Apples and oranges. Red light and speed cameras, as you said, are nothing but money grabs.
Yep.
They don't reduce traffic incidents. I'll direct you and your followers to a website called thenewspaper.com, which is established for the sole purpose of following the red light and speed camera issue. And the damage to these cameras over in Europe is something to behold. You read some of the stories on that website, and it's just amazing what people are doing. But
I like it. I'm with it. You know, that's a peaceful protest.
But license plate readers are a different animal. As long as they are used within the parameters that are established, is there a danger of improper use? Absolutely. I do think they need tight control. But a license plate reader is nothing but an electronic way of doing what a cop could already do 40 years ago. He sees you driving down the street. He can call in your license number to see if your vehicle is wanted.
Yeah, no, and I get where you're at, and I totally understand that logic, but my logic is, you know, the government's going to do government things with it. And down the road, that's going to turn into a fine in the mail for an expired registration.
Well, that would take a whole different. I agree that that's certainly a possibility, but as long as it's under the management that it is at this time, they couldn't do that without really changing direction.
Yeah, but once the cameras are up, once the cameras are there, it's very easy to change policy. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to install the cameras. That's why I'm against it.
Right, but you would be getting back to the whole thing of.
But it's all driven. It's all driven by fear and safety.
Not presently. No, it's an automated manner of doing what they can already do and doing it a lot quicker.
But they're saying that they're putting them in neighborhoods because it's unsafe. It's fear driven. They're using fear to get them installed and approved. At least that's how I read into it.
Okay. So if you're out there looking for vehicles that may be wanted for a criminal violation, does it not make sense to look in the neighborhoods where the criminals exist?
Yeah, but I would argue then you should get more boots on the ground. Put the police in those neighborhoods. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look where the criminals are. I'm saying that you're arguing for these cameras to be put in on the basis of fear and safety, and that down the road, government will do what government will do, and we'll end up getting fines in the mail because your registration's late.
There's always that possibility, but that's certainly not the case now. And I think the chief and everybody at the police department would certainly agree with you that fine, let's get more boots on the ground and let's not cut the budget.
And I'm not arguing with you that that's not the case now. And my argument is that they always sneak tyranny in under the guise of, you know, nobody's ever going to say, hey, we're going to install these cameras and we're going to get a bunch of money charging people for late registration. No, you know what I mean? They're not going to sell it that way. But it's such a quick hop and a skip.
It's certainly a danger, but I don't think it's a quick hop and a skip. It's a big jump.
I don't know. We'll agree to disagree. Thanks for the call, Jim. I really appreciate you, man. Appreciate you listening. Thanks so much. Hey, Mike in Murfreesboro, you have a comment on big government, and I can only assume that you agree with me that big government sucks.
Hello?
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Oh, sorry, Chris. Hey, great show, by the way.
I appreciate you, man.
I wanted to talk about a debate I had with this young lady from Germany here recently, and she was just talking about how much the government should give us more, and here in America we have to work too hard, and the government. And well, first of all, I quoted Ronald Reagan. I said a government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything away from you. But Then I told her a real life story about a man from Iran who sprayed my parking lots of a business that I managed about 30 years ago. He was exiled from Iran. He was he owned strip malls over there, was basically a millionaire. And I guess they thought he got a little bit too powerful or something. And so they exiled him and took everything away from him. And one day I was watching him spray the parking lot, and he looked so happy out there, and I had to stop and ask him on my way out. I said, I have to ask you, why are you so happy out here doing this hard work spraying these parking lots? And he told me a story about Iran. And he said, Mike, when I came to America, I had $200 in my pocket. And I don't just spray this parking lot, but because of the opportunities that I have here in America, I spray parking lots all over Middle Tennessee, and I put one son through medical school and one son through law school spraying a parking lot because of our opportunity. Big government only takes. They never give. They never give, Chris.
No, I absolutely agree with you, and thanks for sharing the story. It seems like it's always the legal immigrants that love our country the most.
Exactly, because we're so fat and happy here now. We've lost sight of what freedom really costs and what it really means to us or should mean to us.
Absolutely, it's like we focus on the first world problems. You know what I mean? You nailed it though. It's like the opportunity we have, you don't have in a lot of areas. Thanks for the call, Mike. Really appreciate you. Patrick in Smyrna. Mac, I don't know what TWRA. What's TWRA?
Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency.
All right, Patrick in Smyrna. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Love the show, man.
Appreciate it. What do you want to talk about?
So when you're driving your car, a cop just can't stop you for no reason and say, hey, I want to make sure you got a spare tire in your trunk and that you have, safety equipment in your car. But when you're boating on Tennessee waters, these TWRA reps can stop you for no reason, just to see what you're doing and then hide it under the guise of, oh, we're going to do a safety check. Make sure you got life jackets and fire extinguisher and a paddle and an anchor and flares and a whistle or a horn and all this crap. And the whole time, you're just on a fishing, no pun intended, fishing expedition.
Yep.
To see what else they can charge you with. And then when they do charge you and you go to court to defend yourself and hire an attorney and spend thousands of dollars, those chickens never show up. They don't show up.
Yeah,
Four times they don't show up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Wasting the court's resources, the court's time, the judge's time, everybody's time, and they're so chicken because they have no evidence that they won't even show up. Yet cost a boater thousands of dollars in legal fees and time. Why can they just roll up and stop you for no reason?
I don't know, but it's
an absolute invasion of privacy.
And it's like one of those things. You give them that power, they're never going to give it back.
Yep. You can have all your valid registrations, numbers, stickers, all your stuff on your boat, and be driving 5-10 miles an hour, and they say you are reckless boating.
Crazy.
What?
Crazy.
And just an absolute overreach. And I would, anybody that's listening to this, call and tell me I'm not accurate. It's unbelievable.
No. I appreciate the call. Me and Mac have a running list of things we don't like on the Chris Hand Show. Add the Tennessee Wildlife to that.
Boom. Done. Unbased.
The unbased list. You just made the list. Ryan in Kingston Springs, you have a comment on the red light cameras. What's up, Ryan? You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Morning. Yeah, my little small town just got these red light or these license plate cameras. I'm just biding my time. But that's not what I want to talk about. My wife got a ticket, I don't know, a few years ago from one of these red light cameras saying she ran a red light. She was driving a Nissan Sentra at the time, license plate 333. She gets a ticket out of Louisiana that shows a Nissan, Altima with a 333 tag. But they sent her the ticket. She had to go back and forth for a little while, to figure out that neither one of us has ever been to Louisiana. Ever. Never. We've never left Nashville to go to Louisiana. But yet she gets a ticket in the mail saying that her car was spotted running a red light. So they're not accurate at all.
No, I'm not a fan of them. It's policing for profit. It's just
for sure.
It's ridiculous. Thanks for the call, Ryan. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, policing for profit in general is something I'm not a fan of. However, I am a fan of Agenda Free Friday. which is a new thing we're doing on the Chris Hand Show. I want you to take the conversation where you want to take it. Any topic is not off limits. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. We'll talk about anything. Anything. Absolutely. Like this. 3299 just texted in and said, is it just me, or does Merrick Garland and Elizabeth Warren look like the same person? Maybe. I don't know. I did have this audio from Karine Jean-Pierre. This is unreal. You want to talk about the most hypocritical administration in history? It is the Biden administration. Karine Jean-Pierre, she went on during her press conference and said that Joe Biden is in this administration is very pro 2A.
This administration respects the right of responsible gun owners.
Oh, do they? Do they? I bet you have some thoughts on that. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Adam in Mount Juliet, you want to talk about government overreach. Adam, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Adam?
How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. Basically, I like what everybody's saying, and I'm always against government overreach all the time. I have zero tolerance for it. But one of the biggest things is over the last 3 years, over everything that they just got done doing to us, locking down our schools, our churches, our businesses, crushing people's homes, crushing people's health, crushing people's souls, destroying elections, and doing all this at the same exact time. If you haven't figured out yet that they are always going to do this if we don't do something, and it doesn't mean, and I don't mean that means taking up arms. I'm not saying to do anything violent, but if you're not inside of your city, inside of your city administrators, talking to your mayors and chief of police, and making sure that these things are never happening again, and that means your school boards as well, because we're not safe just because we're in a red state.
100%.
We're not safe just because we're here. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing is just like when Wilson County tried to shut down during that time, just like we went to the mayor over in Wilson County and told him very clearly, you shut down the county, we're all going to be sitting in front of your house grilling out hot dogs every day. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And they need to feel the strain. Some of these, the reason why we're in this situation is because city by city, even in Tennessee, where we thought we were safe, the whole time COVID's going on and the whole time you hear all this crazy stuff going on with the kids in Tennessee, we're sitting around like, man, that would never happen here.
Yep.
All of us.
Yep.
And then when it started happening, everybody immediately folded. The first chance that they got to prove it. And now they're also trying to do this stuff in our schools. Wilson County, Davidson County, Sumner, Rutherford, all of you, they're all doing this.
You have to be involved because being asleep at the wheel isn't going to cut it anymore. Thanks for the call, Adam. I really appreciate you. You made a lot of good points. This is the fun part about Agenda Free Friday.
Love it.
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about. 615-737-9986. It's the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Update on a deadly Middle Tennessee explosion and a deadly crash. Holiday travel update. These stories and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We've been having an agenda-free Friday. We're going to do this every Friday from now on. The response has been awesome. You guys, I love having Mac. I love having Ken, but the most important member of our crew is you. And from now on Fridays, we're going to let you dictate where the conversation goes. So, Angie, I see you on the line. Jackie, I see you on the line. Tommy, we're going to get to your calls next. But this is the main theme is government overreach. It seems like, and standing up to this government overreach. And we had talked about red-pilled movies earlier. We talked about it on the crossover with Dan. We're going to talk about it a little bit later on because, it's a long weekend. You got to watch something. Hollywood's still on strike. So there's got to be some red-pilled movies to watch. And if you need a red-pilled movie to watch with your kids, I highly recommend Bug's Life. Bug's Life is absolutely based. So there's this scene where the grasshopper who controls the ants as slaves has basically a come-to-Jesus moment with the rest of the grasshoppers.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Ooh, pretty based. Pretty based and red-pilled. We're going to talk about more red-pilled movies. I want your suggestions as well. We'll do that after the break. And again, Angie, Jim, Tommy, thank you for hanging on the line. We're going to get to your calls next. It's Agenda Free Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, authorities have released the identity of a woman killed in that house explosion overnight in Arrington. 70-year-old Janice Rhine died. Arrington firefighters say that home was left in pieces. A leaking propane tank is believed to be the cause, but the investigation continues. Metro Police releasing the name of the driver killed in a crash that shut down I-24 yesterday afternoon. They say 20-year-old Ivan Boykin of Smyrna was killed after the 2004 Honda Accord he was driving went out of control, traveled across several lanes, then struck a guardrail at Hickory Hollow. Witnesses reported seeing another man exit the car and walk away from the scene. His identity is not known. As of this morning, interest on student loans is accruing again after a 3-year pandemic pause ahead of a full restart of payments next month. Here's Elizabeth Schulze.
This is a day that many borrowers with student debt have been dreading as we get one step closer to payments restarting after that 3-year pause. Since March of 2020, interest rates on federal student loan balances have been frozen at 0% as part of the government's pandemic relief program. But as of today, borrowers will be charged interest once again at the rate that they locked in before the freeze.
Repayment starts October 1st. And if yesterday was any indication, airports are going to be crowded this Labor Day weekend. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says you better behave yourself.
We are continuing the zero-tolerance policy for people who act out on an airplane. The flight crew are there to keep you safe, and they deserve to be treated with respect. No one should do anything that endangers the flight crew or fellow passengers on the plane.
TSA saying it expects to screen more than 14 million passengers over the holiday period. Driving this weekend, right now until 9 o'clock tonight's the worst time. So will tomorrow between 10 and 4, then Monday between 10 and 6. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Chris Hand. Agenda Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm going to let you dictate the conversation at 615-737-9986. I played that clip from Bug's Life, and Luciano texted in 7828, said, wow, Hopper from Bug's Life sounds like the left down to a T. Yeah, yep. That's why it's a red-pilled movie, my friend. Definitely one for the kids. Anything you want to talk about, 615-737-9986 on the text line or the phone line.
Yeah, we got a first-time texter here, Chris, 1732. I want to talk about people entering interstates at 35 miles an hour. That's the purpose of an on-ramp. Please tell people to get their butts moving.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, if you're entering the highway at 35 miles per hour, just don't.
Don't do that.
Take
please.
the back roads.
Yeah, seriously, take the scenic route, man.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the first-time text.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, what was the number again?
1732. Thank you.
1732. Excellent comment, and that's why Agenda Free Friday is here. We can just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Angie in Nashville, you want to talk to us about the fact that your kids are having no homework these days. What's up, Angie? You're on Super Talk.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know that Robertson County is where my child goes to middle school. He was advised by all of his teachers at the beginning of the school year that they're not going to have homework. Of course, the kids were ecstatic, right? So
yeah.
My question is, I said, so that just red flags all over that. So I said, well, how about you bring your book home so that I can look at it? Oh, we don't have books. So what are they teaching my child that they don't want me to see, that they don't have homework and they don't have books?
That's so crazy. And I've actually seen this as an issue before. A lot of people send me stuff online from different school counties. That's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag.
And then he's talking about health class, and he's like, oh, yeah, we have sex education class. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Do you have a book in that class? I mean, are they teaching the birds and the bees and the bees and the bees and the birds and the birds, or birds that used to be bees? I don't know.
Bees that have had their stingers removed.
I don't know what's happening. I'm just like, I need some type of information, right?
I think listen, I think a lot of parents are in your position. And I think that one of the things that you can do is, if you have the time to, get to a PTA meeting. Ask the teachers.
Yeah. Aren't they just like the representatives for
then do you have an open line of communication? Do you have an open line of communication with his actual teachers?
I mean, I can text and that kind of thing, but I can't ask them. My questions to him were, if you have any conversations that start with, hey, we wanted, maybe you shouldn't tell your parents this. Or I was trying to put stuff out there without going there, trying to give him a reason to see red flags also. Any conversations that you have in class that start with, hey, don't tell your parents?
Totally. And I know
you shouldn't have this conversation at home.
And I know it's so hard because it's one of those things where you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So you don't want to be the one to bring it up, right? So that's got to be hard.
No.
But as a parent, I mean, you have every right to know every piece of curriculum that they're teaching your kid. So I would request it. I would request it. I would call the principal and request it. I would wonder, there's a book that I've seen floating around that they're using in a lot of school districts called Perspectives. Have you seen that?
No. Again, he doesn't have any books, so
yeah, that's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag. I would get in there. I would get in there as quickly as you can and figure out what's happening. And then if you don't like what's happening, we can air them out on the Chris Hand Show anytime you want.
Fantastic. I'll look into it and see what I can find. And he's like, Mom, nothing's going on. Nothing's going on. I'm like, you don't know that nothing,
Mom, nothing's going on. Communism has never hurt anybody.
Sam, well, thanks for taking my call.
No, thank you for calling in. And it's like, it's so hard to be a parent in 2023 and keep your guard up. So kudos to you for being involved and being on top of it. But I would just say, go to a PTA meeting. Ask your teachers for more info on what they're showing them and what they're teaching them. And I don't know, 7th grade sex ed, that's a little bit young. Jeez. It's tough out there. It's tough out there to be a parent right now. It's tough out there to be a apparent in 2023 in general, even the school stuff aside. James in Gallatin, you want to talk about schools. You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, James?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Scott Van Pelt, is this him?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I'm the Canadian version of Scott Van Pelt, apparently.
Man, I'm a sports fanatic, and you sound just like him.
That's crazy.
But I'll make my comment. I'll leave you alone today. The lady that just called.
Yeah.
I love her energy and everything, but I mean, she did a lot of giggling, and that stuff is a lot more serious than giggling. Because you don't know where the books are and what this is, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're just
I mean,
running anything past our children.
I'd give her a pass on the giggling. People deal with stress in different ways. It's like laughing at a funeral. You know what I mean? Like people deal with things the way they deal with it.
Okay, maybe that's probably why I cut hair and you do talk shows. but yeah, that school stuff, man. I've got a sister that's a school teacher in Clarksville, and she actually quit.
Really?
Because they had that. The book is called My Two Mommies, I believe.
Oh, my gosh.
And there was a picture in one of those books where there was a man sitting on a chair, and there was another man on his knees with his head in his lap. And that's in the book. And that was like third grade.
Dude,
So just so you people know that's listening, that's what's out there. And if you don't know, then you don't know.
People really put
they're going to learn something.
Yeah, people really put their blinders on and think because we're in a red state that we're safe. And I would argue we're the least safe because our state is so red that they're not going to change your mind, James. They're not going to change my mind. So what do they have to do? Well, they have to indoctrinate the kids in order to flip this state. It seems like these commies and these Marxists, one thing that they all have in common is that they're willing to settle for the long game. You know?
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for the call. I really appreciate you, James.
Man, I appreciate you, man. You're doing a hell of a thing on this show, man. I listen to you every day.
Hey, I thank you. That means so much to me. We're just trying to have fun, and I'm having fun in here every day. And when Mac decides to show up, it's cool too.
Hey, I gave you a Friday, okay? You can't complain today.
I know. All right. Anything you want to talk about? Agenda-free Friday. I'm letting you dictate where the conversation goes. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Tommy in Gallatin, you've been on hold for a while, my man. Government overreach is the topic of your call. What's up, Tommy?
Yes. I just want to share a quick story with you, and I'll make it as quick as I can.
Yeah.
But I lived in Oregon for about, a few years in the mid-'90s. And it's so frustrating when you're living in a state that has a lot of Democrats in control, but the area is pretty conservative, but the population of the bigger cities, that's how it goes. So they had, talk about these red light cameras, they had what was called mobile cameras. It was a van that had photo stuff in there, and they would go to different locations throughout the cities, and they would do photo enforcement, and they would do red light enforcement and stuff, and you just never know where they're going to be.
Crazy.
Well, and they justified it, and they had all these stats and everything and all the good things it would do, yada, yada, yada. Well, what they ended up doing was this, and it happened to me and a whole bunch of other people. They had this one road. It was a 4-lane road, and they were going to do construction on it and repave it. So they took away 2 lanes, and then put up cones and stuff to separate the other 2. So they were doing construction on 2 of the lanes, doing the road pavement, and using the other 2 on the other side. Well, while they had the cones up, they had the orange, sign saying construction area, 20 miles an hour speed limit. So everything was working fine. Everybody's doing 20 miles an hour through there. They finished one side, then they switched to the other side, did the same thing.
No kidding.
Okay, so great, no problem. They did that. Then when they completed the road, they took all those cones and moved them off to the sidewalk. Well, whoever it was that was supposed to come pick them up never did. So the road was completely done, construction's done, no workers, no nothing, but the cones are on the sidewalk, not even in the road. They also didn't take down the speed limit signs. So you know where I'm going. So 2 weeks after the road construction was done and complete, people are back to doing the normal 35. I was one of them. I'm doing 35 through this road, and all of a sudden, I see the van. And I'm thinking, well, I don't have anything to worry about because, as I'm coming up, and then I see the light flash. And I'm like, oh, I know what they're going to do here. So I immediately turned around and went back and got my camera, and I took some pictures. So I knew because I was going to take this to court. Sure enough, I get the photo in the mail, and it has all this stuff showing that it's construction area 20 miles an hour, and I was doing 34. Okay, so I go to court, and I explained to the judge, and I showed him the pictures. But before I got to go up to see the judge, we were sitting in the waiting area waiting for him to call our names and stuff, and I was talking amongst other people. There was a whole bunch of people in there for the same thing. And that judge was finding us all guilty, every one of us.
Classic.
$200 ticket each.
Jeez.
Man, I was so mad. He found me guilty, even though I explained to him that the construction was done, showed him pictures and everything.
Yeah.
Still guilty.
Classic,
So, yeah,
classic big government. Big government sucks. Thanks for the call, Tommy. I appreciate you, man. Ray, who's a truck driver. Ray, you got a comment on mass shootings? Ray, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Ray?
Hey, yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an agenda-free Friday, whatever you want to talk about. So what's your topic?
Yes, sir. I remember when I was going to school, we didn't have fences around schools. We didn't have metal detectors or security guards or anything like that. And we had a sheriff's officer just basically sitting in the front office all day. He didn't really have to worry about anything. But nowadays, with all this mass shooting, you basically got to get strip searched in order to be able to go to school these days.
Oh my gosh, I saw a picture of California schools that the metal detector line was so backed up it looked like you were at BNA.
Exactly. I'm from Florida. I mean, I just it scares me this day. I got 18 nieces and nephews. It scares me these days to have them go to school. They're always looking over their shoulder. They're always wondering what's going to happen next and stuff like that and everything. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
No, it is ridiculous, and it's a sad reality of the world we live in, unfortunately. Thanks for the call, Ray. I appreciate you. But, it's like you see this stuff happen, right? But, like, statistically, it's so low, the probability. Like, I don't think that we should – I don't overly do anything with my kids about, talking about school shootings. I just don't want to scare them. It's statistically such a low probability. The schools have their plans in place, and you just got to pray. I think that's the only thing you can really do because I don't know what else you can do to stop that. Brian in Savannah, you have a comment on teachers and schools. Brian, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So, there's maybe a little bit of misconception about that whole thing with East Robertson about notebooks. So there's been a movement that's gone on for the last, I've been teaching now about 15 years. And when I first got into it, it was like textbooks are bad. You're a lazy teacher if you use a textbook. So there's just this movement to not have books and to, search your curriculum over the internet, which is kind of bad form because it's not vetted. I totally in agreement that you should know what the people are teaching, but I'm not necessarily sure that the reason why there's no books is they're trying to hide something from you. It's really actually a bad education movement that it seemed to bled down through all of the county schools, really, to be honest with you, across the nation. I happen to be the exact opposite, that kids need to have text that's in front of them that's vetted for their age group, that's been done by experts. Trust me, you should know what's going on in your schools.
I hear where you're at. I hear where you're at. It's like we see a lot of stuff in Middle Tennessee, though, like the Clarksville Montgomery School District with their DEI training. You see stuff across the nation, what's happening in schools. So you can absolutely understand where she's at is of that being a red flag. It's like all of this was exposed during the Zoom classes, once parents were actually in the classroom, so to speak. And, when they're not sending the work home, it's absolutely a red flag. I can't disagree with her. You know, it's hard to disagree with her. But thanks for the call, Brian. I appreciate you. It is 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Man, this show is flying by.
This is nuts.
We haven't even talked about red-pilled movies yet.
Ooh.
So we got to talk about red-pilled movies.
Yes.
All right.
Text in with any red pill movies.
Any red pill movies that you like, let me know. Todd asked on the Super Text line.
Todd.
I can get to this. Todd's here. Todd said, hey, Mr. Hand, what's your take on them not releasing the manifesto from the Covenant shooter? You know, I will say this. Just release it. I think that's my take. I don't know what's in it. I don't know. It just seems like they don't release stuff when it's not convenient to their agenda, when it's not convenient to their narrative. I'll reserve judgment until I read it, until I see it. It could be a nothing burger. It could be the rantings of a crazy person. And in all reality, it's probably just the rantings of a crazy person. Anybody that could do that to kids, evil. I don't know. I think they should release it. I think if it was a white racist male, they would have released it a long time ago. Just my 2 cents. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for Paul Winkler, Inc. Luckily, me and my wife, we have a financial plan now because we got linked up with Paul and his team. I have 4 kids, thinking about paying for a couple weddings down the road, college if the kids decide they want that. You know, these are big goals that we have, big financial goals. And have you seen the economy lately? You have to have a plan. You can't go in without a plan. So luckily, I linked up with Paul. Now, because Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard than is required, government regulators require that I tell you I'm paid every time this commercial airs. Totally fine, totally fair. It's true. But I'm a client of Paul's as well, and I'm a client because Paul's a smart guy and he knows the financial world better than I do. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Before I met Paul, I was almost financially illiterate. I would do my reading and I would do my studying, but I didn't have somebody in my corner like Paul who's been in the weeds in the financial world for a very, very long time. And with Paul and his team, nothing is done on commission. Huge, because I know that they're helping me make the right decisions for me and my family, and they're not helping me make the decisions that are right for them and their family, like some guys will when they're working on commission. You can't blame them. It's human nature. But with Paul and his team, nothing's on commission. And also, everything they do is investment education, all right? They want to help you understand why you're doing it, and their education is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. So do what I did. Check out Paul's team. Every office is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years of experience. You can set up a complimentary 15-minute phone call right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. Again, that's paulwinkler.com, or kick it old school, pick up the phone and call 615-851-1950.
Updates on a deadly explosion in Middle Tennessee, a deadly crash, too. And be careful of that scam involving Bed Bath & Beyond. Details coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're doing Agenda-Free Friday. We're asking for... excuse me. Well, it's almost choked a little bit. We're asking for red-pilled movie recommendations. Somebody said, Chris, I'll admit it. I'm old. What qualifies as a red pill movie? Well, my friends, any movie that has just grains of uncomfortable truth, you know? So, like, for me, V for Vendetta is what started this. My father-in-law is a big movie guy. He's visiting this week, and he had never seen V for Vendetta. You've seen V for Vendetta, right? Have you seen it?
I have not, but I heard you talk about it.
You haven't seen that?
No.
Dude. All right, so V for Vendetta was released in the early 2000s or in 2000. And in the movie, it takes place in 2020. And it's about a totalitarian government in England that rose to power because a virus was released. And they locked down the country.
That's pretty crazy.
Weird, right?
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
That's what I mean by red-pilled movies. Just like movies that make you stop and go, 9492 texted in and said, Wizard of Oz. Like, yeah, don't look behind the curtain. Like, that's a huge red pill. Huge red pill. But it is Agenda-Free Friday also. So we're going to go over the list of red-pilled movies after we take this call. Tim in Nashville, you know, we're doing Agenda-Free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. 615-737-9986. Tim in Nashville. All I can see is that you want to talk about bicycling safety, but I have to ask you first, my good friend, are you pro-bicycle or are you anti-bicycle?
Oh, pro very much.
Okay, all right. So we have a pro-bike fan. What is your comment on bicycling safety?
So the problem is everybody wants to say, okay, you abide by the 3-foot law, and I get that. But they're not inclusive of all the bicycle laws, and it creates a huge safety problem. And the law that they are not aware of, it seems like even our law enforcement, it is a Class C misdemeanor to ride your bike on a lot of roads here around Nashville and in Tennessee. And yet the city has posted signs that say, you know, share the road. That's all good on the road you're supposed to be on, but it's not inclusive of every road.
Well, you started out saying you were very pro-bike, and now I'm feeling like you're very anti-bike, Tim.
No, well, here's the problem. The problem is I want you to ride your bikes and be safe, but you're causing other people to have to swerve into oncoming traffic over hills you can't see over. I drove professionally here in Nashville for almost 30 years, and I've seen a lot of it. I want everybody to be safe. So if they're not enforcing that law, they're encouraging everybody to just ride anywhere, which is not safe. That's kind of my point.
All right, perfect. I appreciate your call, Tim. I do, and thank you for taking part in Agenda-Free Friday, where we let you dictate what the conversation is going to go at 615-737-9986. We've been asking for red-pilled movie recommendations. A lot of texts rolling in, and I'm going to share some of my favorite red-pilled movies as we go into the weekend, this long weekend. We'll do that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, 70-year-old Janice Ryan is the person authorities say died in a house explosion overnight in Williamson County. Authorities say they arrived at the home there in Arrington to find it in pieces. Metro Police releasing the name of the driver, killed in a crash that shut down I-24 yesterday afternoon. They say 20-year-old Ivan Boykin of Smyrna was killed after the 2004 Honda Accord he was driving went out of control, went across several lanes, then struck a guardrail at Hickory Hollow. And the Better Business Bureau warning that after Overstock.com acquired Bed Bath & Beyond and revamped its website, scammers are taking advantage of the big changes by targeting consumers with fake sales. You are lured in to buy an ad on social media for Bed Bath & Beyond products that are dramatically discounted, and then you're directed to a website that looks very realistic and even includes the Bed Bath & Beyond logo and product information. So you make the purchase, The money goes straight to scammers. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Chris Hanford, Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling. You heard it from Stefano Di Pietro. The heat's sticking with us. Well, if your AC's on the fritz, that's not good news, but the good news is you have somebody you can trust in Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling. It can be so hard to find someone you trust with these large home repairs because you don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about, but they do at Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling. Now, most guys at some of these bigger companies are going to pressure you to replace your unit. But Jeff Eddy, they just want you to make the right decision for you. And if that means replacing parts that are broken, they'll do that. If it means replacing the whole system, they'll help you figure out the right way to do that as well. And because Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating is a small company, you know that you're going to get the best service. I trust Jeff Eddy and his crew to do what's right, and they've proved it time and time again. Again, let me remind you, most companies will pressure you just to replace your system because they make more money that way, but not with Jeff Eddy and his crew at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Efficient offers up to 18 months, same as cash financing on your next unit. They're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. Go to efficienthvac.net or call 615-784-4424. Yeah, more cowbell on the Chris Hand Show. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Every time we play this song as a bumper, I get more cowbell texts
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, that's just natural. That's okay.
You gotta have more cowbell.
And I'm always playing the air cowbell on this one. Don't worry.
Unbelievable. It is. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, Mac is immaculate at the air cowbell. It's a joke that didn't land. Immaculate.
Oh, that was pretty good. I didn't even. Nice.
You excited? Are you hyped, bro? Tomorrow we're going to the game.
Yes, let's go. Some football.
All right, so me and Mac are going to the Vols UVA game tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be sick.
What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna meet up?
Yeah, I got to look at the sections and figure out where we're gonna go. We're gonna try and say hi to some people, right?
Yeah. So before the show ends, we're gonna pick a time and a section where me and Mac are gonna be hanging out. Like after, I don't know, after the first quarter?
Yeah, first quarter something. Yeah, I mean, the game will be over by then, so it won't, but yeah.
Oh. All right. You know, I'm going there rooting for UVA.
I know.
Yep. So he's just got to, what did Ken say earlier? He said they'll be putting up a half 100 points on UVA.
Yeah, and UVA, he said when the Vols score half 100, I love that. He said win. There we go, Ken.
All right. It is Agenda Free Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, phone lines are open, 615-737-9986. I have something that I want to talk about, believe it or not. And the topic, my friend, is red-pilled movies. Okay. The first one that you need to see, Hollywood's on strike. We got a long weekend. We need some entertainment. Something's got to entertain us, right? But nobody wants to watch woke trash, right? Nobody wants to watch woke trash. Do you want to watch woke trash, Mac?
No.
So we are trying to help you avoid woke trash movies by providing you with red-pilled movies. The first one that I will suggest is They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper from the 80s. It was directed by John Carpenter. Roddy Piper, without exposing too much of the movie, he gets these magic glasses, okay? And when he puts the glasses on, everything he sees around him, it exposes the propaganda. So he puts the glasses on, he looks at money, and the money stops looking like currency. It looks like a white piece of paper, and it says, "This is your God." And that's what he sees when he looks through the glasses. He looks up, and it's like a vacation billboard, like, oh, visit the Bahamas. And he looks up at the billboard with the glasses on. It says, "Marry and reproduce." So you have to watch this. The reason that this conversation started, I see your text 0583. Last night, I watched V for Vendetta with my father-in-law, and V for Vendetta is another red-pilled movie. V for Vendetta was released in the early 2000s or in 2000, and it was about a totalitarian government in England rising to power after they released a virus on their country, a bioweapon, if you will, and took control of everything and locked everybody down.
Never heard of that. Never heard of that happen.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't happen in real life. I know.
Weird.
It's weird. So I want to know what red pill movies you like. Another one that I want to point out that's awesome is Network. Have you ever seen Network, Mac?
I don't think so.
Mac.
I know. Unbased.
Also, just so everybody knows, I brought in the They Live on DVD for Mac. You can hold it up for the camera, Mac. Let everybody see. Let everybody see it. Yeah. Yeah, you got to hold it up. That way they see it.
There we go.
All right. They Live. Rowdy Piper. So based. Network is also based in red pilled. Network is about a sorry, I get so distracted with some of these super texts. Network Terry said, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm fresh out of gum." Yeah, that's from They Live. But Network is about a newscaster and all the shenanigans that happen when you're a newscaster. And this is the rant from a guy who is doing the news and just kind of gets black-pilled on life. And it's just, you can listen to this rant and feel it and feel the same way today.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
That's as red-pilled of a movie as you can get. Network from the 70s. So good. So good. I got a text from 8548 said Harvey Keitel needed an Oscar for that performance in Network. He did. It's one of the most underrated movies of all time. Nobody will talk about it because, it's too red-pilled. It's too real. Getting texts in left and right. Soylent Green from 7332. Red pill movie, OMG. Yes, Soylent Green is wild. They control the food, and spoiler alert, it's people. That's Soylent Green.
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber.
I know.
I don't know if that's a red pill movie.
That's what someone said.
You know what's a red pilled movie? If you want to have like a fun kind of family fun one.
Yeah.
Truman Show.
Oh, I love the Truman Show.
His entire life is subconsciously manipulated by fear, and he doesn't realize that he's constantly being watched. Like, if that's not the liberal NPC world, right? Like,
that's a great film.
Dude, so good. So good. Another good one, which I played a clip of this earlier, is The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger and Christian Bale.
Interesting. Wow.
Listen to this from Heath Ledger.
You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan. Even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I tell the press that like a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mare will die, well, then everyone loses their minds.
The whole movie is red-pilled. The Joker is one of the most red-pilled characters. It took Heath Ledger out, allegedly, having to play that role. And then in the end of that movie, when Batman is saving the day, he uses it by turning everyone's cell phone into a sonar device. You remember that, Mac?
Yeah.
So and then that pings off of everything, and he can kind of see through walls because of it.
Yeah.
I really do believe this, that a lot of times it's soft disclosure of military tech in these movies. And that's one of those instances because a college, we talked about this a while. There was a college, I can't remember the college, but they developed a way through artificial intelligence to be able to do sonar mapping with your Wi-Fi router in your house in real time. Artificial intelligence can. So I think that whole movie has elements in it that are just red pilling.
Yeah, gosh, that's crazy to think about. That's a reality now. That's frightening.
I feel like it's soft disclosure. Like, I feel like a lot of that stuff is like the tech they'll put it in movies so that way when it gets exposed, people go, oh, I knew that. It's like, well, no, you didn't. You just saw it in a movie. Yeah. Weird.
Getting a lot of texts. Idiocracy.
Idiocracy is absolutely a red pill movie. So when they made Idiocracy, the Mike Judd, right? The Beavis and Butthead creator. It's Mike Judd, right? Or is it Mike Judge? I think it's Judd.
Let me see.
Either way, that whatever. His name doesn't matter. He wanted to pick a pair of shoes for the future that he would that would be just ridiculous, right? And so he went through and he's like, okay, I got to find these crazy looking shoes just to prove that everybody's an idiot in the future. Go watch the movie. The shoes that he chose were Crocs.
Oh, wow.
And he said, they said, well, what happens if these get popular in the future? And he said, there's no way that people would be that dumb that they would wear Crocs.
Now everyone loves Crocs.
Everybody loves Crocs. We are living in idiocracy every single day. Every single day. So good.
Mike Judge, by the way.
Mike Judge. Is it? I feel like that's a Mandela effect. Sorry. I don't want to go too off the rails. Brad texted in, goes, also Joker with Joaquin Phoenix too. Red pilled AF. I like the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. We live in a society. You get what you deserve. Yep.
I think The Purge is a red pill because it's the Democrats created.
Yeah, The Purge. Everybody was pointing that out during the Summer of Love, mostly peaceful protests. That we were living in The Purge. Absolutely.
2025 Bruce Almighty? Interesting. I love that movie.
Maybe just because like you can't handle. I would love to get a little bit more explanation on that. 2025.
Yeah.
But my head immediately goes to like you can't be God. That's red pilling.
Gotcha.
We live in a society where everybody thinks that they can be, they're God, right? What else we got? Soylent Green was one.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland is absolutely a red pill movie. Diving down rabbit holes. Yep. Absolutely. I had the clip here and somebody pointed out 7568 said Demolition Man from 1993 with Sylvester Stallone. Definitely a red-pilled movie. Demolition Man, have you seen that?
No.
You haven't seen Demolition Man?
No, man.
So Demolition Man, they got to a point in where they would punish bad guys by freezing them cryogenically. So Wesley Snipes was like this big-time bad murderer. So they froze him. Then they fast forward society. Sylvester Stallone was the cop that caught him, and he ends up getting frozen too because he's too violent in the future. So when the bad guy in the future releases Wesley Snipes, they have to go back and release Sylvester Stallone.
Gotcha.
So in the future, you can't swear. If you swear, a fine prints out on the wall in any room you're at. Every restaurant is Taco Bell because corporations have taken over all the restaurants. It's so crazy. And then Dennis Leary is in the movie, and he's like this homeless guy, and he has a rant in Demolition Man that's epic. This is the rant from Demolition Man and Dennis Leary.
I'm the enemy because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in a non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green Jell-O all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Yeah, that's the future. That's the future we're looking at. I mean, think about right now with the way the left is. Yeah, yep. Incels in their mom's basement, and I don't even want to knock you if the fact that the left has made it unaffordable to buy a home basically relegates you to your mom's basement these days. It's crazy. But any other red pill movies you got? Terminator 2, talking about the rise of AI. Those are absolute red pill movies.
Yeah, I saw iRobot with Will Smith.
iRobot, yep. iRobot's a good one.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Todd, who's here? He was here on time. Todd texted it. He said, Stallone kept cussing in Demolition Man, and then he used the fines to wipe his butt because there's a new method to wipe your butt in Demolition Man. You have to use the 3 shells. Everybody giggles because he doesn't know how to use the 3 shells.
Wow.
It's like, where's the toilet paper? He's like, he doesn't know about the 3 shells.
Oh, my gosh. That's funny.
So then he starts just cussing. So that way it prints off the fine. So then he has toilet paper. So good. So good. Escape from New York, Enemy of the State. I saw Manchurian Candidate. I mean, this is why I love the super text line. We can crowdsource these red-pilled movies. So, I mean, there's a lot to go off of. What are you going to watch this weekend?
Saw someone text the Bourne movies.
Oh, yeah, the Bourne Ultimatum, the Bourne Supremacy, all those, yep.
Gotcha.
Those are pretty red-pilled.
Interesting. I love those movies. I'll have to rewatch again with that in mind.
Watch it from the lens of, like, the CIA.
Gotcha.
And what they do overseas. All right, so just recap. They Live is a must-watch. Fight Club is a must-watch. Demolition Man, Network, V for Vendetta, Manchurian Candidate, Soylent Green, Idiocracy. What am I missing? If you got
Dark
kids,
Knight.
Dark Knight. If you got kids, check out Bug's
Yes.
Life. Check out Truman Show. These are great red pilled movies for the weekend. It is 11:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, he said, I got a text from 9626. He goes, how about the original red pill book, the Holy Bible? Hallelujah. Amen. All right. It is 11:51. Pamela Furzin next. She's going to be joining us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Chris Hand. Thank you for joining me on this Agenda-Free Friday. Thank you for channeling the conversation in places where you wanted to go. I really appreciate you. Joined in studio now by Pamela Furr. What's up, Pam?
Hello.
How are
I
you?
want to start calling you Crisp Hand. Because you look, I told you this earlier,
Crisp.
you look so crisp today.
I know.
Crisp Hand.
Crisp Hand,
That's
yes.
funny.
I like it. My wife picked out this shirt, so I felt pretty good wearing it. I question it when I pick out my own clothes. I'm like, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but if my wife chooses it, I'm like, yeah,
Then-
all right,
yeah,
it's pretty
all the
solid.
way.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the new word? Baked?
Based.
Based. Based.
Based.
No, we're based during the show. We get baked after. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Baked is for after hours. Got it.
Oh.
No, we were talking before you. I don't know how much time you have. You've got the clock in front of you. So if I'm chatty Cathy, please forgive. But you were talking about the red pilled movie. So
Yes.
you've been picking some pretty good ones. I hadn't even thought about the Bug's Life in years.
Oh my gosh, Bug's
What
Life
a
is
great
so
movie.
red-pilled. Bug's Life is so
Yeah,
red-pilled.
it really, and that's a Woody Allen movie for
Yep.
crying out loud. You would have never thought,
Woody Allen's not very based, but Bug's Life is.
right? But I would have never.
Didn't he marry his stepdaughter? It's a little weird.
I think it was, yeah, because it was
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra's ex that he married, and so
And
then
then he got-
adopted the young kid, and then fell in love, and then yeah,
Little weird.
I think
maybe
that's how it
that
goes.
movie's not as red-pilled as I thought it was. I have to go back and rewatch it. But that one line at the end is
It's baked. No, I'm sorry, based. Is
Based.
based. All right, I'm gonna learn
Absolutely
it.
based.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
All right.
All right. So Matt, I'm in for Matt Murphy today, the
Yes.
birthday boy, and something epic happened last night.
All right, I'm
Can't
excited
wait.
to hear.
Yeah,
That's coming
gotta
up
tell ya.
after the news right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.